Hello, guys, and welcome to another Tabernacle Project podcast. Today, Jeff and myself talk about the impact of music to the culture. Then we express our thoughts on the current state of hip hop. Enjoy. Hey, we live, man.
Say again?
We live,
We
bro.
live.
Yeah, man, we
Okay,
live.
dope.
Hey, what you want to say to the people, Jeff?
I just want to say what's up. You're just excited to be again a part of another episode of the podcast. Looking forward to the discussion today.
All right, cool. My opening question is: does music progress the culture or vice versa? Why don't you go
Music
first?
progress the culture.
Yeah, does music
I think it's funny because I think for me I've always kind of looked at music as instrument of culture. Like I think when it comes to, for example, we look at like Black people, I guess really throughout the world, music is really a vital part of how they define themselves. So even when it comes to hip hop here in the United States, I'm like a huge like hip hop head. So like I sort of take note of like all of the different kinds of sounds that are in different states, different regions of the United States, and you really get a sense of like if I go to Atlanta and I hear their music, I can automatically get a sense of their culture. So music is definitely a driving factor, but it's not only the driving factor; it also like is a huge chunk of the culture itself. You know, I think if you took out the equation of like music in total, no matter where you are, I think that would be a big blow to the culture because I think music is the way that we really try to, I think, emphasize and talk about and sort of express things that can't be expressed in any other way. And every group that has a different culture also has a different way of expressing those things as well, which is why I think the music is different. Because what I experience here may not be what you experience there in Atlanta. And so we kind of have a different way of sort of expressing that, you know what I'm saying?
to me, like music, it is so like I think music. I compare music to like almost like water. Like
Mm-hmm.
again, you can quantify it with songs and albums, but the effect of it, the reuse of music, the reuse of
Right.
sound is infinite. To me,
Yep.
music. I'm a big music lover. Okay, for the audience, our listeners and YouTubers. Yeah, I'm a big music lover. So like when you listen to music, like you can put it puts you in a time capsule because you can hear like a song today and you can hear a song like 5 years ago and you can hear the total difference and you can hear like certain regions and stuff and like how like kind of like technology and like how we record, it evolutionized how we do music today as it did in the
Right.
60s. And
Right.
also one thing I want to bring up about like Israel is like we we're black people of course, so like we we live in music. We are everything we do
Definitely.
is like surrounded by music. Our
Mm-hmm.
sacrifices to our God of Israel are like our singing and prayer.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to quote this scripture in Joshua 6 verse 3 to 5. I think it's a very good scripture to almost bring one of my points across. Okay, and ye shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go around about the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days. And 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of rams' horns. And the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times, and the priest shall blow with trumpets. And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when ye hear the sound of the trumpets, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall ascend up every man straight before him. So when we put this in context real quick, so in Joshua, we're fighting to go in the Holy Land, right? And we clear
Mm-hmm.
up space. God originally told us to clear up space, so we had to go
Right.
through Jericho, right? We didn't take Jericho down by just throwing our swords.
Right.
We put trumpets in our priests' hands and walk around the city 7 times,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I mean, I think that speaks to like the idea that music is a tool. You know, like so. As much as it is a part of the culture, like it also is a tool that we can use. Which I think ironically sometimes we don't really always like understand the power of it. Anything else in our lives, we can kind of use music to either, push ourselves in one direction or another. Like just as a just a small example of this, if I am in love with somebody, right,
Mhm.
and let's say I wanna, um, show this person I really love them and show them that we need to be together. I may write a love song and I may use that song as a tool to kind of help her fall in love with me. You know what I'm saying? So I think on that small level, it can be used as a tool. I think in every sort of, in sort of even a larger scale, it can be used as well. So as you just mentioned, even in war, you can use that music as a tool as well because we know again how spiritual music is. Then again, even too in our daily lives, like for me, for example, I don't really go to war, but I think the closest that I get to that is probably the gym. So if I go to the gym and I'm trying to lift something really heavy, it's so crazy how just listening to the right song can cause me to feel stronger. So I think again, it's just it's just I think the idea of looking at music as a tool, as anything else, as powerful as a sword or a shield or what have you. But that I think comes with the understanding of just how important and um, powerful sound and music is. You know.
Also, I want to quote that quote. I want to say that music, like every culture has like certain songs, certain rhythms they do. Like you have the Irish with certain dances, you have the French with certain dances, you have the Caribbean with
Right.
certain dances, you got dancehall, soca. You
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
like certain signature dances just permanent or like stained with that culture. And the fun
Right.
thing about that, most of like the Mediterranean culture and the Caribbean culture stole a lot from us, which is
Mm-hmm.
some people might be surprised by. But if you see the similarities in the Bible, not just reading words on a page, if you actually see it, like immerse yourself in the Bible, you can see that.
Right.
And like it's crazy how like music is like I'm saying like music is almost like everything, like it tells like you got the
Definitely.
Negro spirituals, you got the Negro spirituals, and you
Mm-hmm.
came from Negro spirituals, like just singing like songs of freedom, singing songs that lift you throughout the hard day, and then you got the jazz, right? I'm just
Right.
jumping
Yeah.
like all the way like 1920s, right? From
Mm-hmm.
jazz, and you start singing. We see like R&B, some of the old Negro spirituals, about
Mm-hmm.
like love and stuff, and like and stuff, and like you got hip hop, right? And like
Right.
which is crazy. Okay, so I don't know if everybody sees this or not, but like I, me, myself, and some other people see this. So like in '80s, it was talking about how drugs are bad for you. You had like Dope
Right.
Man, and about how negative, like by NWA, how Dope Man was very negative to the black
Right.
community and stuff. And in the '90s, they were hustlers, right? So there was like, okay, I just do it for my family. You know what I'm saying? I'm just do it for my daughter, right?
Right. Right.
And like, I think nowadays the, they talking about they talking about taking the actual drugs. So and like you
Right.
can
Right.
see how the culture reflects off that as well.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna say that actually, in terms of music being a tool, like I think sometimes like and I think that's kind of the part that I was referring to when I said that we don't really understand sometimes is that we can use music to have us go in either direction. So if we're out here talking about how like we're doing this or this kind of drug or drinking this and this kind of alcohol, we don't really realize that it's not only that people are hearing it, but it's literally pushing this kind of we'll call it this that sort of energy into the culture. So now that becomes the culture. So now when people think of hip hop, they think of kids doing drugs. You know what I'm saying? And we've seen, I guess, countless stories over even this past year about just different hip hop artists that have died or had health problems because of their drug use. So I think again, like as you mentioned, as the music kind of shifts and changes, you kind of have the same thing happening in the culture as well. But I think again that kind of goes back to your original question, I think too, which also kind of caused me to kind of pause a bit because you could also argue that the music is a reflection of what's already going on, if that makes sense. So like I think it's one of those things where like what came first, the chicken or the egg. So I definitely think that music is a tool that does push it, that does push and sort of cause the culture to go in one way or the other. But at the same time, again, you also have to look at the fact that music is also sort of a recording of what is going on at the moment as well. I think it's really a combination of those things. But it's important for the artist to understand that, because if not, then again they can kind of cause the culture to go in a negative direction.
That's a great point. I actually was about to like say something like that, but I just wanted to say either way. So I was watching this video. It's
Mm-hmm.
called Hip Hop DX on YouTube, right?
Right.
And they were talking about if gangster rap should exist, has a right to exist, right?
Right.
And in the video, it was talking about how NWA and like gangster rap was basically just like what you said, like it's a reflection of what the environment they were put in, and like
Right.
was using that reflection just to get out of that situation,
Right.
you know. Um, so like yeah, I think it also like I think it goes two ways, you know. Because
Mm-hmm.
like you can see like if you hear that track now, like that stays in that time, yo. Like I listened to that track like a couple months ago, and I was like,
Right.
dang,
Right.
that's so 80s right there, man. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you can hear like the sound and everything, yo. Um, okay, you got any more else to add on that question? Like,
Um, Repeat the question again.
does music progress the culture or vice versa?
Oh, still my question.
You can,
No,
you,
I mean,
I'm about to move
I
on
think
this way.
that's, yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of like all I wanted to say. But again, just again, the fact that it can sort of be a tool to push something forward, but it could also again be, as you just mentioned, sort of a recorder of what is occurring in the culture currently. You know.
Roger that. Okay, so my next question is, do you think artists should be role models and why? Personally, I don't want my artists to be my role models, you know. I just
Mm-hmm.
want to like
Right.
them for their music, unless
Mm-hmm.
they actually like do like some stuff you can be admired of, you know,
Right.
like like Kendrick or like Chance, you know, they do positive stuff in the communities, you know. But I never really like like what I'm saying. That's like boundary points to me. I don't really
Right.
like. Okay, so okay, you dropped this fire album out. So like, well, okay, so what you gonna do with the community now? Like, no, I never like look at
Right.
that
Right.
because you know, I just like the
Yeah.
album. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, no, I was gonna say, I think for me, like, it's really, really tricky, because like I really did grow up listening to like hip hop artists. Like one of the first hip hop artists that I listened to, being born in like the early '90s, was like Biggie and Tupac. Like those were kind of the artists that I looked up to in their music, but also, you have to understand like their music became like the soundtrack to like my life, and so I think like that being the case, like I think when it comes to the music specifically, I understood growing up the way that I did. I knew that the music was not something that I wanted to emulate in my life. I know I didn't want necessarily drugs. I know I didn't want a certain lifestyle, but at the same time, the energy that was carried through in that hip hop music and the sound, I tried to emulate the same kind of energy in my life, how I dress, how I act. But at the same time, I don't think anything is wrong with that per se. I think the problem really comes in when the person who makes the music is also like a celebrity, because I think it's really the celebrity that has the impact to really cause someone to um, go down a certain negative path. Again, if we're looking at a person as a role model. So, for example, one of the biggest artists now is Drake, right? Drake makes good music, and I listen to his music, and I like his music. But there's also Drake the celebrity, right? So like, if Drake the celebrity says something, there are gonna be people all over the world that are gonna listen to what Drake says like it's the Bible, right? I think as you were saying this now about how you just kind of listen to the music and want it to be good, I think that's cool and that's fine. And that actually makes sense because if you think about it, musicians are really just people, right? So they're really just expressing what they know how to express. So they have the same emotions of love and hate and envy and like all kinds of stuff, and they express those things in music. So we should be able to relate to it. But when it comes to this, sort of new era of the celebrity status, now we look at these people as like, oh, he's like even better than I am, and therefore I need to follow his role. I think that is sort of what that negative connotation comes from in terms of us wanting our musicians to be like role models, because we see that those musicians also become the celebrity as well. I'm not sure if I made sense there, but I think again there's the separation between a person's music and their celebrity status, which caused them to be role models, whether they want to or not. You know.
Okay, so like, do you think it's wrong when you see like politicians and like really old people be like, really old people, will be holding the artists accountable for like stupid stuff like like slavery or like the oppression of black people, like
Yeah.
or
I mean,
like responsible for like
well,
killings in Chicago and stuff like.
right. I mean, I think that the see, I think in today's context, I think the artist definitely has a responsibility. Like, I think again, if we were not living in an era where the artist was also a celebrity, then I think it'd be okay to say no. The artist is a separate entity and sort of they can't be they can't be held like into account. But especially in this new era, and maybe me coming from the '90s, like maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh in this sort of newer generation, but I really feel like there is like really, especially when it comes to hip hop nowadays, there's no accountability at all when it comes to the artist. Artists put out music that may or may not be good, talking about a whole host of things that may or may not be positive, and that's again, it's art, so that's fine. But again, there's no accountability to kind of say, okay, well, I'm also a celebrity, so what does that mean for those who listen to my music? So again, I don't really think it's the music that's the issue. I think it's the fact that these people are made to be celebrities, and so therefore people really listen to what they say and really, plan their life out and do things within their lives to kind of match their favorite celebrity. I think that's the issue. So when a politician says that a particular artist is contributing to, like the death of black people, or whatever, it's hard for me to really disagree with that because if I hear you on a song talking about killing another black man, um, I think that is something you have to be accountable for. Like, this is someone that you're a celebrity, you're an artist, kids all over the world listen to your music, love you, will pay money to go see you. That's going to be the case. So, like to put some of that negativity in your music and then you're surprised when things happen within your community, I think, it doesn't make that much sense to me. Um, so I mean, I think it's a conflicting thing, especially when it comes to hip hop, because I love hip hop, and I listen to a lot of hip hop music. But at the same time, again, I kind of do get tired of some of the negative aspects of the topics and themes that come up in songs sometimes. Because again, it's like, man, we know what our status is when it comes to like living in ghettos and poor and sort of like in poor neighborhoods. We don't have to have that be sort of a reigning theme of what it means to be black and what the culture is. So, like, going back to your first question, if the music drives the culture and all you talk about is like money and girls, or, like all that kind of stuff, that's going to be the culture. You know what I'm saying? So I think again, if we're saying that music drives the culture, then again, I can't get mad at the politician that tells the celebrity and artist that he has to be accountable for his words. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so I I like to counter that point. I blame the parents. And the reason why I blame the parents
Yeah,
is
yeah,
is because the kids are stupid enough to follow an image.
yeah.
Okay, so if you if your dad, whatever, you're not a dad right
Mm-hmm.
now, but you know,
Yeah,
and your
not
son or
yet.
daughter is listening to, would just say, what a pump or Yachty or Uzi or whatever, right?
The 21 Savage, yeah.
Yeah, anybody, right? And they'd be like, okay, I want to be just like that.
Right.
You failed. You failed. You get an F on that test.
Right. Yeah.
Because if you really want, if your son or daughter really want to be like a rapper or like a groupie or whatever, like, are you
Mm-hmm.
kidding me? Are you kidding me? Now you like want to rap. You just want to be like a gangbanger just because
Right.
a dude said a good verse or not even an average verse that you mumbled over with a
Right.
nice beat. You want to shoot somebody.
Right. But I think like we have to take into account the fact that like most statistics say that like ch- children are most influenced by things outside of the household. So like even for
Well, that's why you
a
get home training.
little kid or yeah, but even for a little kid or a teenager, regardless of what their parents tells them they're more influenced by their peers and by what they see outside of the household. So, if a kid is in school 8 hours, or sorry, 6 hours a day, they'd say they also go to an after school program. They'd say they also come home and get an hour to watch TV, and they listen to all kinds of music. That's a lot of time and space and area for that child to be exposed to a variety of things. So, and I'm not saying too for parents to like restrict their children to like iPod or whatever, but I think there has to be an understanding of the kind of influence that the artist has. So like again, I think children are very influenced by things besides their parents. I know for me even, my mother hated that, when I was in high school, I listened to Lil Wayne all the time. And one of the songs that I love was a song that he wrote, I think it was on the Carter 3 or Carter 2, called I'm Me. And my mother didn't really understand at the time that I wasn't really being influenced by the negative aspects per se, but I just liked the idea of being very boastful and the bravado-ness that came with the song, and it helped me to really do what I had to do in school in a very sort of prideful manner. But needless to say, I was still influenced by Lil Wayne, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So it just happened that because I had the structure and the parents and the environment that I was able to really take those attributes and turn into something positive. But there are still like hundreds and thousands of millions of kids that don't do that. That are still either not living in sort of a good environment, or again, their parents are working two jobs, or whatever, and don't really have the time and sort of the available resources to really hone in a lot of the positive attributes to combat the negative things that they're hearing. You know what I'm saying? So I think we can't negate the fact that kids are gonna soak up stuff besides what their parents tell them.
Well, okay, so let me just clear what I was trying to say earlier up. I'm not trying to
Yeah, yeah.
say like I like parents, to hawk on your phone or like cut all the
Right, right,
music off, you can't listen to no cuss words. No, it's like, like okay, let me just bring a comparison. Like you have like a talk, you
right.
have the talk. You like when you come like turn 7, like in that period of time is like the most important period of time of your life because that's like your foundation,
Right.
you know. And
Yeah.
for you to get swayed by like a song, but at the same time, music, I mean, they start movements and stuff, so it's kind of hard to say, like, everybody can, but you know what I'm saying, you gotta have like a strong foundation, so like, no matter what will sway you, you always be the same, you can't be just sort of flip flop because that artist might be hot one day and cold the next day.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of
Right.
hard to
I
project
mean,
that.
like again, I agree with you a bit, but I also want to disagree too because I think, like I mentioned before too, like music is powerful, man. So like, yeah, again, if I listen to if I listen to Drake all day long, I'm gonna be in love. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I listen to Jay Z all day long, I may have a different kind of swag about myself. If I listen to 21 Savage all day long, I'm gonna like be a little more aggressive, and that's just the nature of what music is. Like, music has the ability to really shape and change not just not just sort of what you feel in the 3 minutes or 4 minutes of the song, but it has the ability to kind of over time, day after day, listen to a specific genre or kind of music. It has the ability to really shape even how you think and how you move and what your swagger is and what you're. You know what I'm saying? Like, all that is affected by music. I think it's the same thing as if you were spending time with a friend that over and over told you the same thing over and over. If you have a friend that you see every single day that says, "Hey man, you know what? You're dumb. You're dumb. You're dumb," over and over and over time, that's going to become sort of just what you're kind of used to, right? So I think the same thing with music. You hear the same thing over and over and over, and over time, that's going to become what you're used to. That's going to become sort of the soundtrack to your life. And again, if you're a kid, you're a child, you are a sponge. You are going to soak up every single thing. So I think, again, music has the power to, regardless of, even if you're a strong person, there's still the ability to affect how you think. Once again, like if I go to the gym, I listen to something that is going to make me be able to lift heavier weights, and that's because the music has that power and ability to allow me to reach a level of aggression and sort of strength that I don't normally have, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So I think, again, we can't negate the fact that music is powerful, you know?
Yeah, I agree. It's a really tricky subject, you know. It's
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
same
Yeah, it
time,
is.
music can
Yeah, it is.
be so many different things, you
Definitely
know.
not
It's
easy.
used so many different ways, you know. It's kind of hard to gauge it, you know. Okay, so we talked about that, you know, question for a while. That was a great question. uh, when I said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so is hip hop dead? And the reason why I
It's
say
up
that
there. Mm-hmm.
is because before hip hop used to be really creative, you know, like you know, and creative in almost in every aspect, you know, like from the songwriting to lyrics to the
Right.
way people perform, you know, like how people would carry themselves and stuff, you know, and they know like a certain standard, you know, that you know hip hop artists can go by, right? Well,
Right.
nowadays you have like YouTubers and Instagrammers becoming getting signed and come on quote unquote rappers, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like the Cash My Outside girl, you know, Bad Barbie,
Oh,
aka
man. Yeah,
and
yeah.
Rice Gum, and then you got Jake Paul with Everyday Bro. That is so trash. You heard Everyday Bro?
No, I didn't hear it.
Yo, don't hear it, man. Trust me. That's like Ebola in the ears. So, anyways, yeah, um, yeah. So, is hip hop dead or is
You
it
know,
dying?
I would say that I do not think hip hop is necessarily dead. You know, I think I've heard that many times. I've heard that since like Nas's album back in the day with hip hop is dead. But you know, I think it just has evolved and has definitely changed. I think like the progression of jazz music, when jazz music first came on the scene, people said that it was trash music and you know, that it wasn't good music. When it evolved into like more that bebop sound, the people who were into traditional jazz didn't like that bebop sound and like the scatting and whatnot. I think it's the same thing we have with sort of our modern day hip hop culture. So again, as I mentioned, I grew up on Biggie and Tupac. You can argue these are the most lyrically like one of the like two of the greatest lyrically artists of hip hop
No, they're not.
um,
They're not.
of all time.
They're
I mean, I
not.
think
They're
well,
not.
regardless of what
I'm
you think,
sorry.
I think you can make I think someone can make the argument. You know,
No, there's not an
and
argument.
so
I'm sorry. There's not an argument. I just don't. I can name
but
like 10 people right now.
but I guess again, to my point though, I think
For
the
my
fact,
point though.
but I think to the fact of
That's St. Louis
yeah.
coming in. My
No,
point
but
though.
I think the fact of the matter is though that like again it just has made sort of an adjustment in terms of what is valued now. So for example, now like the producer is really gets a lot of credit for a lot of the different songs they're made. Not that they get the recognition that they should, but I'm just saying the producer really makes the song now. That is sort of what has been that's sort of more valued in songs these days, more so even than the artist that is singing the song. And I think the artist has more of the celebrity status, but when it comes to the actual song itself, the producer is the one that actually makes the song hit, right? And I think also too to consider that even when it comes to how the lyrics are rapped, that whole sort of um, Migos or Versace looks like this, that whole thing has become sort of the way that rappers rap these days. I think again that's just sort of in the same way that jazz made that same transformation. Hip hop has done the same thing. Now you can argue if it's good or not. I think there's a argument for that. And I think what whatever side you're on, and if it's good or not, that's your opinion. But again, I think you have to look at sort of how things, especially in music, are going to change. Music is art. Art is always changing. Art is about innovation. So I think again, we just are seeing hip hop take this natural change. I think the reason why we say that hip hop is dead sometimes is because we're used to seeing hip hop a certain way. And I think now we're seeing it being done a lot differently than we used to. And I think we are trying to really struggle with what that really means for the future of hip hop. But in my opinion, hip hop will never really be dead because hip hop, in a sense, is really, akin to what is the soul, the meat of black people. I think hip hop is even sort of an extension of jazz music. So I think it's really just, how our music has started to evolve over time. Now, again, I am of a generation that, the Lil Yachty and the Lil Pumps is not really, what I may call sort of first class music. But at the same time, I respect it and say, as long as the artist is putting their all into their work, then I can respect that they are making art. Do I think it's pushing the culture forward in a positive way? Maybe not. Do I think that it is the best kind of music? Maybe not. But at the same time, I have to understand that the music itself is taking a course of evolving and changing the way that all music does.
Okay, so after the deep analysis of Jeffrey Blair, so my turn.
Go ahead.
My turn. So okay, so
Mm-hmm.
I got two sides to it. I say yes and no.
All right, go ahead.
So when I say yes, let me just start with positive. When I say
All right.
yes, like in today now, like you see in hip hop and culture in general, like we're more inclusive than never before. Like we have so many different lanes, like so many different subgenres that you can associate with hip hop. And before, not so much. So like now you have like you have like conscious, you have like horror rap, you have almost like comic book rap. You got on West Coast, you got East
Yeah,
Coast
music,
boom bap,
obviously that was
you
always
got
there, though.
trap, you got drill music, you got
I said I think you can make an argument that they had some of the subcultures back in the day too, like with the different groups, like the African, I forget what that group was called, but they had a bunch of different groups that were like into different sounds and all that kind of stuff, like back in the '70s too, or the '80s, I should say too.
Are you talking about like just singing or like
Well, I'm saying
regular?
in like hip hop too, like there were like a bunch of different groups, and like even again like from East Coast and West Coast and everything, they had their own different sounds. But I do see what you're saying, how it's sort of becoming more, I think, maybe distinct now, or maybe this is the form it's taking now.
Yeah, before
But
it be
like,
like that one group or that one artist had that their just certain style. But I'm talking about like
oh,
there's
I
a
see.
whole in like like a whole like there's a whole like group and a whole like group of different artists that does the same thing in different ways. You get what I'm saying?
Okay,
you know what I'm saying? Like okay, so like you might have the Beastie Boys back in the day. Run DMC.
right.
Fat Boys. They all did like they all rap. They all like did different stuff. But new, I mean, Fat Boys did not have their own genre. Beastie Boys did not have their own genre. Run DMC didn't have their own genre. Cause I mean, you can't have a whole genre with just one group. So like, like nowadays, it's more prevalent, and then like you can have like a taste for all the vibrant flavors of hip hop and of American culture and all that stuff. So and black culture. So yeah. So I also say no because um also say yes. Hip hop maybe is dying because the
Right.
quality of music is not as great as it used to be in some areas. Like some like now
I
you got
agree.
SoundCloud now you got SoundCloud rappers
Mm-hmm.
like everyday rappers. They could
Right.
just like post anything and get some buzz on it. Like they can like fart on a mic right now and like post it, and they don't care. Like you can see them in interviews, they can
Right.
say yeah, 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 in a whole song and name it yeah
Right.
and get views off of
But
it. So it's like
can I ask you a
okay,
question though?
it's a
So I guess I definitely agree with that point, but I guess what I was gonna maybe say is, do you think though that the consumer, the average person that listens to hip hop, in my opinion, well, let me ask you a question first. Do you think that the consumer can make the distinction between, let's say, like a Lil Pump or like whatever other SoundCloud rapper, and how like maybe not good quality that music is, but at the same time, do you think they can make the distinction between that and someone like a Kendrick Lamar, who you can tell takes time to like make his songs, make his albums, make his entire sort of collection of music. You can tell as a lot of time and grafting into it. In
Yeah.
my opinion, I think you can tell the difference. But I guess what I'm saying is, I think with someone like Kendrick Lamar, you know he's going to be here for a while. I don't know if you can say that with these SoundCloud rappers, that they'll be here lasting, able to make music that is enjoyable and sort of in an elevated status to the average consumer, you know. But I was just wondering what your opinion was on that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think. I mean, anybody with with some ears, can demonstrate difference. Like Lil
Right.
Pump has a lot of energy and stuff, and Kendrick,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he has energy in a lot of songs, but he doesn't showcase all the time, so it doesn't get always tiresome. But Lil Pump, if he doesn't have energy in his tracks, it's really not that far. I'm just saying, like, or any SoundCloud rapper, if it doesn't have like a track is full of energy, you know, it doesn't, it will go get as much buzz.
Like the traditional banger with the sassy flow, but
Yeah,
yeah.
with the 808s and stuff, but I don't think they do
Right.
808s.
Right.
They ain't doing 808s as much as they used to. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, not as more like drums and stuff. Um, but yeah, like what was I about to say? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So like, yeah, I'm just saying like the quality of music and like the standard is lowered. Like people understanding and like also like I think also like also I blame the parents for this too, because the community, the just the community in general, it's not going as good as it used to, you know.
Right. Right.
But okay, we talking more, too much about this. Okay, so we can talk all day about this one.
I know you're going forever, man. I'm a big hip hop fan, big music fan, so
Me too, man. That's why I was really excited to record this one. I couldn't wait for
yeah,
this
yeah.
one. Yeah, Jeremiah. I'm sorry, Jeremiah. Anyways,
Wait, so who's your top five, man?
of all time,
Yeah, when it comes to hip hop, anyway.
um, man, that's a hard one. I say that for another podcast.
All right, cool, cool.
uh, man, I got you put some thought in that one. I'm sorry, man. We gotta put that on Twitter. Okay, we gotta put that on
For
Twitter.
sure, for sure.
Get some more followers. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so since you almost like it comes 40 minutes right now. Wow. Okay. Um, let's go to our relevant topic of the day or the podcast.
Okay.
So there was a recent interview with Donald Trump Jr. Um,
Hmm.
um, yeah, he was defending his father, right? There's a whole interview on CNN. I'll put the link in the description below.
Okay.
So basically, in the interview, he was just defending his father, talking about like the asshole comments and all the racist bigotry he be doing against people, you know. So he was like, it was so funny. He was like, why am I talking about how he's all racist and stuff? I'm almost quoting this word by word. Why
Right.
why is he why is everybody saying he's racist and the worst person ever? I mean, he got a lot of rapper friends, so like
Oh yeah, I did see that. I saw that. Yeah. Or I read about it anyway.
When I saw
I
that,
read
I
about
was
that.
like, no.
I know.
He
Yeah.
really just
Like, why
said,
even
"Yeah,
say
man, I
that?
got black friends. I can say it too, bro." That's that's
Yeah.
that comment.
That's an old one, man.
That's the oldest trick, man. Oh my god.
I know. Oldest trick in the book. Yeah. The oldest trick in the racist book, for sure.
I'm saying, like, come on, dog. Really? He,
Yeah.
like, you couldn't
I
come
mean,
up.
but that's kind of like, I don't know, like, that's kind of like, you can tell when someone does not really have any, like, black friends or anything when they go to, like, like, I had rapper friends. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of like, I don't know. That's just, again, like you said, one of, like, the oldest kind of tricks that has been kind of used to justify not being racist is you listen to rap music, you know? I think that's a lot of people that think because they listen to rap music and they like, things that black people make, that automatically makes them not racist. But You have to actually like black people too,
I'm
not just
saying
the fact that they actually make these things that you enjoy to listen to and look at.
I ain't racist. I listen to Eminem.
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
I ain't racist.
So
I use Aunt your mama. Really?
exactly, exactly.
No
The same kind
remorse,
of thing.
yo. No remorse.
None, none at all.
So you got anything else to
But
add on? Go ahead. I'm listening.
no, I was gonna say, but I'm not really tripping off that, man, because again, like I know we know the times, we see what's happening, we know this is all sort of supposed to be happening, and again, like they, continue to show their true colors and to show like exactly that this time that we live in is different than what we haven't had in the past, and that just kind of makes me happy to kind of see what's next, and kind of makes me happy to see what kind of music is going to come out too, because one thing I'm not sure if you're going to touch on this, but one thing that has happened with music too is there's been a sort of resurgence of like people speaking about being an Israelite or something about Israelite within the music. Like on the last Kendrick Lamar album, he was speaking about calling him an Israelite and not black, stuff like that. I think
Also,
that's something
Kodak.
I think I'm kind of excited about too, is just seeing how the progression of music is going to change as people start to become aware of black people being the original Israelites.
Yeah, Kodak said he was the Israelite too.
Yeah, yeah, I heard that too.
But they're not Israelites, viewers. I'm just letting y'all know they're Hebrew Israelites. They're not Israel. They're
Right,
not us. We just make that
right, right.
clear.
But I guess just like the knowledge of black people being something different than what we're used to them being, I think that's what's the exciting part about it. Even though again they had the message a bit skewed, just that general idea of them sort of having an understanding of who they are in terms of as a people, I think is what excites me about the kind of music that's going to be coming out next
Yeah, I think
in this next wave.
yeah, I think E2K and Rick Javel should like trying to hop on that wave real quick.
Definitely, yeah. So if you're an Israelite artist, definitely get your stuff popping and really see that you can lead that wave of Israelite music. Like just how that SoundCloud rapper is the thing today. Tomorrow it's gonna be the Israelite rapper that's gonna be the thing of the future. So definitely get on that wave and lead that. And, definitely lead that charge.
Yeah, I also do paid promotion, so you try to hit me up, so you get there's a fee. there's a little fee you gotta pay, you know what I mean?
Right. Let me find out. Let me find out the can in the booth.
I'll just point
But
out.
yeah.
I'll just point out. I'll promote. I mean, I like to promote Israelite artists, if I
Right. Yeah,
could.
for sure, man. For sure.
So like,
Yeah.
yeah, some of the songs that I put in the podcast, um, they're from there. They're from there. I also put some of the songs I use in the links in the description as well. So like, y'all can go check them out. You know what I mean? I put them in because they're dope. So y'all think they're dope. Okay? If you mess with me, you mess with them. That's all I'm gonna say. Uh,
Definitely.
okay. So you got any more thoughts on I got rapper friends. You got any more thoughts on rapper friends?
Nah, bro.
All right. Cool.
Nah, no thoughts there.
Okay. So in our final segment of the good podcast, the Tabernacle Project podcast, uh, we got sleeper verses. Okay.
Mm. Yep, yep.
So who want to go first? You got one or
Yeah.
you got
Yeah,
one?
you go first. Yeah, you
Okay,
go
I'll go
first.
first. All right. Okay, so this one I like to dedicate to all y'all that be saying the covenant is dead. God loves everybody. His commandments are dead because Jesus are dead. The law is no more. My scripture is gonna be John 1:2, verse 3 to 5, and it says, "And hereby we do know that we know Him, if we keep His commandments. He that saith, I know Him, and keepeth not His commandments, is a liar, and the truth is not in him. But whoso keepeth his word is verily in is the love of God perfected. Hereby know we that we are in him." So, off that, everybody that you hear that says the commandments are no more, that God loves everybody, no matter what you do, that's false. So
Definitely.
that is
I agree. I
false.
concur.
I just that's like you know what I'm saying. Like you can't. After that, you have to be an Israelite. If you're not an Israelite, He doesn't love you. If you want, you know what I'm saying. Like that makes no sense.
Agreed.
How
Agreed.
how you supposed to know and love somebody if you praying to his quote unquote son, which is not really his son? That's a different podcast. That's a different discussion. So
Yeah, yeah, different story.
there's a lot of different discussion in this podcast right now. The podcast of all podcasts. Um,
uh-huh.
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. That's why it touched me. Um,
I feel you. I feel you.
yeah.
Mine is Deuteronomy 31, and for this one, I really like this because I thought it kind of matched what we're talking about today in terms of music. And I just thought it was interesting because in this specific verse that I'm going to read, it's actually the God of Israel who actually gives Moses a song to teach to the children of Israel. So it's Deuteronomy 31, verse 19, and it goes, "Now therefore write ye this song for you, and teach it to the children of Israel. Put it in their mouths, that this song may be a witness for me against the children of Israel. For when I shall have brought them into the land which I swear unto their fathers, that floweth with milk and honey, and they shall have eaten and filled themselves and waxen fat, then they will turn unto other gods and serve them and provoke me and break my covenant. And it shall come to pass, when many evils and troubles are befallen them, that this song shall testify against them as a witness." And so, I mean, it kind of goes on, but I really appreciated the fact that we can see that, even our God, wanted us to have a song so we could remember him by. So if there was ever a time when we went against him, that we'd be able to sing the song and kind of remember how to get back to him, which kind of just goes back and kind of reminds me about what you were talking about in terms of the Negro spirituals. And I think even when it comes to hip hop today, when we sing music and when we do music, whether it be hip hop or R&B music, music can really take you a place to kind of have you to really reflect on things in the past and really sort of be in a different space than what you are currently. So I just look at this verse and I just think, wow, like the God of Israel was so wise to really see that music again could be a tool to kind of help us to get back to him.
Also, I like to say, you know, oh Lord, this might be a stretch into a different podcast. Yeah. So like, I think like one of the best ways for a human being to know, to learn is by the rhythm, is by
Right,
song. Like not just
right,
sitting in desk memorization all day as a they're trying to teach us and standardized test. But
right, right,
like myself, I used to learn or memorize or do certain things just because of the rhythm. How they
right,
teach you how to swim, you go by a rhythm. How they teach you how to ride a
right.
bike, you go by a rhythm. How you breathe,
Yeah,
it's a rhythm. How your heart beats, it's a rhythm. So if you lose that rhythm, what are you doing?
exactly, exactly. Without rhythm, you're gonna be dead. That's true.
So, case in point.
I feel that.
Anything else, Jeff?
Nah, man, that was good, man. That was a good discussion. I definitely enjoyed it. And again, when it comes to music, again, I could talk all I could talk all day, man. We could debate who's the top five all day. So,
Yeah, we didn't get to that. This
so
is a different podcast, y'all. That's for
yeah,
Patreon.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
a premium right there, y'all. That's
Right,
premium.
right.
All right. Like, share, and subscribe. Nice talking to y'all. Bye.